You never heard of these albums? Are you kidding me? Hey guys, welcome back to the Bald Shredder channel. So today, I am here to tell you about 10 albums that might be a hidden gem for you. And these are 10 albums that I consider to be really good. And I don't mean just great guitar solos, but great musically. Some of them are instrumental, some of them are bands with a singer, and they all have something in common, at least for me, that they are all very listenable. Listenable. Is that a word? Yeah, very listenable. I can listen to them and enjoy them, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And not just the guitar solos. I have a hard time getting into an album or a song where like, yeah, that solo was blistering, it was awesome, but the rest of the song was like, ugh. I can't really listen to a whole album like that. I need the whole package. I need the cool riffs, good production, good performances by all the guys. So all the stuff I'm going to talk about today, I think fits into that category. Now these may be albums that you are familiar with, maybe you're not familiar with them, maybe it's something you listened to a long time ago, but you haven't heard them in years, and you're gonna see my list, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Or for a lot of you, be like, I never even heard of that band, I never heard of that album, I need to go and check it out because it could be something totally awesome. Now I'm not gonna go into a huge amount of detail about each one. I've got the full list down in the description of the video. They aren't links, they're just a list of the artist and the name of the album. You can copy and paste the names from the list into wherever you listen to music. So I don't want to put links because some people listen on Spotify, or maybe you listen on Amazon or Apple or YouTube, or if you're like me, you've got a rack full of CDs over there. All right, let's get to it. In 1990, former Megadeth guitar player Chris Poland released his all-instrumental solo album, Return to Metalopolis. 1996 saw the release of the Jason Becker solo album, Perspective. And this is quite an amazing album because it features stuff that Jason did record on guitar while he was already starting to suffer from ALS. And then other stuff that he recorded like via computer by not actually playing guitar. And it features one of my favorite instrumentals of all time called End of the Beginning, and guitar player Michael Lee Firkins does all the guitar parts on it, and it is just simply an amazing song. And the whole album too. I actually bought this CD from Jason's dad at the NAMM show in 1996, I believe. Next up is the self-titled debut album from Blue Murder that came out in 1989. And this features guitar player and singer John Sykes. This is the first thing that he put out after he was kicked out of Whitesnake from that huge 1987 Whitesnake album. I love it, check it out. Released in 2011 was the self-titled instrumental solo album from guitar player Andy James. Now you might think, he's got a bald head, last name James, I'm probably related to him, right? But no, you would be wrong. In fact, when I got this album, I bought it directly from Andy at the NAMM show. He was at ESP doing a guitar demonstration, and then he was selling his CDs. So I got in line, bought a CD for like 10 bucks, and when I got up there, he's looking down and he's signing them to the next guy and the next guy, and I'm like, hey man, I'm your cousin. And this is what he did. He looked up for a split second, looked at the name on my badge, which said Richard James, of course, and then it was just like... So Andy James is not easily amused, apparently, but anyway, awesome album. Okay, next, we've got the debut solo all-instrumental album from guitar player Michael Lee Firkins that came out in 1990. It was released on Shrapnel Records, and this was a huge breath of fresh air, a completely different style from all the previous shredders that had been on Shrapnel Records, talking about Paul Gilbert, Vinnie Moore, Tony McAlpine, all those guys doing the neoclassical thing, and this was very different from that. You gotta check it out. Okay, this next one, you're gonna be like, Bald Shredder, you can't be serious. But yes, I am, and I'm talking about the album from Nelson. Yes, the twin blonde brothers, Gunnar and Matthew. The name of the album is Imaginator, and it was released in 1996. And before you go screaming, no way, dude, this album had a harder edge to it. It was harder rock. Great production, great vocals, great guitar riffs, great solos, everything really good. Give it a chance, listen to it. Next up, in 1991, the band Savatage, featuring the late great guitar player Chris Olivia, released their album Streets, a rock opera. Wow, what a phenomenal album this is. To me, it's the best thing they've ever done. I absolutely love this album. And there's a reason it's called a rock opera, because that's what you feel like you're listening to. Check it out. Next up is something a little more recent, released in 2007. It is the album Lightning Strikes Again from one of my favorite bands, Dokken. This is a great album. It was kind of a return to their classic 80s sound with the guitar riffs. Amazing guitar work. I love the solos of current Dokken guitar player John Levin. Just a great all-around record, and I figure this is something that's probably been ignored by a lot of people because it's more recent, but go give it a listen, man. It's like classic Dokken. And finally, last on my list is an album from the band Sinergy, which featured also another late great guitar player, Alex Lehigh, and the album was called Suicide by My Side. This was the third and final album by that band, released in 2002. It's kind of like a power metal album, had a female vocalist, and man, could she sing. Great album, just heavy, in your face, and of course, amazing guitar work. All right, guys, so that's the whole list. Let me know if you are familiar with any of those albums and you're like, yeah, I love that one, or you know, you never heard of any of them, or maybe there's some other albums that you feel like should have been included on this list. Some things that you feel it's like a hidden gem that just not enough people know about. Now, some of you guys might remember I did a video not long ago talking about like 5 guitar players that I feel need more attention. Those are kind of the hidden gem guitar players. And in that video, you know, it was like TNT, Racer X, that kind of stuff. I did not include those albums on this list because I already did the video talking about those albums. If I had not, they would have been on this list too. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out, because that's some other stuff that you need to listen to. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.